Alright, we have reached the Warden. Let's see what this one does. Let's see what spec we have made here. Let's go over the things. So this is what it looks like. We always start out with Rapid Fire and Twin Surge. Melee attack, 2 parts that restore stamina and applies debuff on the target, 20% less damage. Don't know how often we will be using that because we're more of a ranged guy, but it's there. Rapid Fire, just a channeled DPS spell. We have 2 passive nodes in here. All of the stats are good. We have the Sweep in here, and that either turns into a knockdown or a dash backwards with a rooting shot and puts you in a ranged tray. I love Disengage, really good. The Sweep itself adds a little bit of a buff, 10% damage bonus to a group member that is nearby. We have the Skull Cracker stake in here, granting extra attack power. It has been enhanced by one of my miners, so it's 100 attack power now. More passives in here. We have taken up the disc slot there as well. Fairy Fire in here is a physical mitigation debuff 20% and prevents stealth. Going into Concussive Trap, the bread and butter of this build. We get to place the traps, but we can always do some other shenanigans with that. It deals fire damage and stuns people. Then the Warden itself in here. So the Twin Surge now also applies a Suppress on the second attack. So it's debuffing their damage and also suppressing them. The Concussive Trap grants a barrier when triggered, once per 5 seconds, and cooldown is down. And Disengage also puts down a trap where we leapt from, and it resets the cooldown on our stake power. So we have at least one already in here, the Skullcracker stake. We have a Trap Master power. We can activate that. 60-second cooldown, 30-second duration. Any attack can spawn a trap once every 4 seconds, and that proc chance is very high, like almost every 4 seconds when you're attacking, you're spawning a trap. So pretty amazing. Steel traps in here increase the duration of the traps to 2 minutes. Radius goes up to 8 meters, and they apply a bleed. We've taken the passive node in here for all this juicy stuff, and we have taken the Dark Domain. Dark Domain because we want Lord of the Forest, and we get a protection stake, 25% personal damage modifier, and V1 is a debuff that reduces enemy damage bonus by 20% and stacks up 3 times. Amazing, amazing, amazing utility in there. Then we have the Corrupted Soul, a Shrivel. It applies Black Mantle and it's a disease, so another damage over time. Plus the Soul Steal, which is an AoE field that deals damage. And if people take 5 ticks of this, we are healed for 40% of the damage it has done. So a great way of sustaining ourselves. We have Explosive Trap in here, so now our traps are also applying Burn. We have Toxic Trap in here, so our traps are also applying Black Mantle. And we got Fortified Stakes in here so that the Protection Stake gets buffed from Lord of the Forest. Normally it's 15% damage reduction, now it's 25. And our Skull Cracker Stake increases attack power by 100 instead of 75. So that all boosts each other nicely. Let's start out in the melee tray. What do you do in the melee tray? Not a whole lot you can, but number 6 is one of our stakes right here. The protection stake, 25% damage reduction. As you can see, the area is huge. Number 7 is the Skullcracker stake that gives more attack power. And then the beautiful thing is we have our Disengage in here that resets. It's a nice dash, but also resets the cooldown on these abilities. So you could create another field. It's easy to change where you are fighting. Maybe one is defensively, then you engage, you can dash in there and deploy the fields again. It also puts me in the ranged tray by using that one. Then we have the cross/slash laceration here, which is the suppress and the damage debuff. That's kind of all you do in melee, right? We can put down a trap as well. Our ratios, number 2 is just a shadow side, and will reveal enemies that are in stealth, and we have a little bit of an escape or engage tool in the charge from the racial. All right, let's go into our ranged tray over here. Our number 2 is our charged attack. It just pew-pews at people. It's a lot of hits, so that works well with the passive that we have here to reduce physical mitigations, right? Number 3 is the barrage, just ground targeted AoE. Lasts for a while. Pretty solid stuff. Number 4 is just our trap that we can put down here. On 5 we have the active ability that will make our attacks spawn traps. So if I pop that, I chuck some barrage here. You can see there are traps spawning around these dummies. Every 4 seconds, kinda, you can expect to see one of these traps, whether you're auto attacking or using AoE, etc. You're spawning traps. You are not spawning traps on the damage of your damage over time abilities, though. But any kind of attack will spawn those things. Number 6 here is the debuff, the wee one. Looks like that and reduces damage. Kind of a long cooldown, but it's also very long duration. We still have our stakes in here in case you need to refresh them, and they're in the ranged tray as well. Number 9 is the shrivel. It looks like that dark magic applies damage over time, and black mantle as well. Don't really need the black mantle with all the traps doing the same thing, but it's a nice damage over time. It's extra in there because the reason why we have that ability is for this field over here. It's an AoE that does some nice damage and will leech us up. You can see this heart symbol with the stacking number. Once it reaches 5, it will start healing us for the damage that it's doing. I'm already full life, so you're not really seeing much of that. And then we have our ultimate. The Ranger ult is just 40% lifesteal for 30 seconds, or until we've restored 30% of our maximum health. So in between our ultimate and the field here, there is a lot of sustain in here. Also, when these traps get triggered, they will apply a barrier to us, making us very tanky. These dummies don't trigger the traps because they're just not moving, so you don't really see that. But there is a barrier in there as well. Even though our hit points are not that high, with the leech and the barriers, it is still pretty tanky, and we get to take advantage of being ranged. Right? It's not as far as the archer, but we still have like 30 meters range on most of these things. So this guy is pretty straightforward. You can create some nice engages or defenses with your stakes. Put some can put some traps down, and yeah, when you get to AoE people, put on your passive and just spawn traps in the middle of enemies, right? And these traps are super potent with all the debuffs and the black mantle on there. The Warden is definitely a force to be reckoned with in large-scale PvP. Straightforward, but super powerful. With all these buffs and debuffs that you're applying and the tankiness that you have, definitely a strong class.